Hello, here we are. Happy Monday. Welcome to ISN Vintage Real Talk, and we will take a bit to let everybody get on and visit with us today. We have a whole bunch of fun. I just learned, and it is the last day of the month of November, that it is Women's History Month. So March is going to be Women's History Month starting tomorrow. So pretty cool, guys.
Yay for us.
Yeah. Fun. Hi, Nancy. Hi, guys. We'll wait for everybody to get on. So today I have three awesome ISN sellers with me, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'm Sarah, the Traveling Button, if you didn't know, and welcome to ISN Real Talk. Hi, Diane. Good to see you. Hey, Aim. So
Amy.
Today we are going to be talking about a couple of handy Instagram features that I hope everybody is using to increase people coming to their sales. And then we're going to be talking about sourcing. But first, what I want to do is have all of these ladies, again, introduce themselves. And we're going to talk about our sales journeys today, how we got to where we are, what we're doing, and where we want to go. So without further ado, Suzzee, I'm going to start with you and let you introduce yourself, and then we'll go to Cheri, and then we'll finish up with Liz and myself.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm Suzzee. I go under the hashtag of Mid-Century Maven. And I also have a second page that is hashtag, or not hashtag, but the little @ on Instagram, Vintage Jewelry Maven. So I kind of split myself between the two.
The links to all of our shops, by the way, are in the description of this video. Go ahead, Suzzee.
Thank you so much. And I started my journey back in the 70s. My mother was a collector. She used to do garage sales for other people and would drag me along sourcing and different things like that. So that I kind of started really, really young. And even my room in high school was all thrifted furniture and items and things, and even clothing back then. So it's been a really, really long, long journey to get to where I am right now, which I love. But along the way, I've had many, many, many jobs and businesses aside from selling. That selling has always been, sourcing and selling has always been a side gig for me. But it has now become full time. This is the first time I've ever done it really full time, and made it something that is, actually, very lucrative. So before, I dabbled in it, and it was something I did on the side, no matter what else I was doing. So I come from an art background, television, radio, and lots of other jobs. So that's kind of how I did it. The way I actually stumbled upon it, was during COVID. And believe it or not, Sarah, it was your husband's page that I first saw. So I saw, I saw his page, and he had this hashtag on it and was talking about a sale. And I was very confused and didn't know what the heck it was. So I started to just kind of follow along and lurk on the sales and figured out how to, get into them. And then reached out to one of the sellers. I don't recall who it was. And she put me in the right direction. And that's when I became a seller.
Awesome. Very cool. So that's kind of how you got to ISN. And then how long have you been, Suzzee, selling on Insta, doing live sales or static selling?
The first time I started selling was right before I joined ISN. So it's been I started around Christmas time. So about almost 2 years.
Yeah. That's what I say. Time has flown. How
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So it has been a long time.
That's awesome.
And it's growing. I mean, and I see the growth, and I absolutely am amazed that in this short time, the growth that my little page has done. And I look forward to seeing it, 5 years from now.
So. Yeah, that's awesome, Suzzee. Cool. How about you, Cheri?
So I'm newer to Instagram selling, but my husband's job, we've moved around a lot. And so we were actually living in Germany, and I watched a lot of YouTube for the English that I missed. And that's when I watched a lot of resellers then and thought it looked cool, but didn't have a work permit, and I wasn't going to mess around with that. And then when we moved back to the States, we were in California, and I started selling on eBay. We needed to downsize more things. And I started looking for a job.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized, yeah, I don't want to work 50 weeks a year. Like, I am not going back to 2 weeks vacation. I want to be able to visit my family. You know, they were on the East Coast, and I was like, this isn't going to work for me. I can't start at the beginning. So that's when I started selling on eBay and then Etsy, and really started as a business instead of just getting rid of my things. And then also selling some of the ceramics I make on Etsy. Blah, 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 2020 hit, I shut down, we ended up moving, so I took some time off, but I believe it was last spring or early summer, then I was watching YouTube, and Michael, the Cult of Vintage, and Misty, Thrifter, Junker, Vintage Hunter, I don't know what happened backscene, who spoke out with who first, but they brought particularly Sarah and some other ISN people to YouTube, and I wasn't back to reselling yet because we were in the middle of moving, but boy, once I found that hashtag ISN live sales and hashtag ISN member item, was definitely hooked as a shopper. And then in October, I joined ISN as a seller because I just really liked the platform so much. I started just selling static because I was just getting into sourcing in a new area, which is a whole new challenge. And I remember I said to you, Sarah, I can't do a live because I can't agree to another seller to do a live sale unless I know I have 15 good items to bring. Even now, I'm only doing one live a week because I'm still figuring out where the best places for me to source are.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure. It's one thing on a static sale. I mean, I'm doing the static sale tomorrow. I could have 10 items. I could have 30 items, but it's on me. But if I'm doing a live sale, you know, I want to be able to source. So yeah, but I love the ISN community, and I love selling on Instagram for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Liz, what I know your story, but I want you to tell everybody else.
Oh gosh. Okay. So to go back, way back, I inherited a lot of things from my grandmother after she passed away. And that was back in 1978. And my parents, especially my mom, wasn't really into vintage at all. She liked things shiny new. She did not get me. But I remember way back when she wanted to get me a new bedroom set. I was a teenager. And I'm like, I don't want new. I ended up picking something out at a consignment shop that was very vintage. We bought her, and she's like, who are you? But my grandma had so many cool things. She had like the washing tub out the garage, and her antique treadle sewing machine, which I now have in my living room. Mm-hmm. And she had so many things that I was just, I think that's where I caught it as a kid. Anyway, fast forward. After my youngest son, I have 5 kids, they're all grown. And after my youngest son was born in 91, and I'm a nurse. That's what I do by trade. And I took some time off from nursing, when I had my last child, because I had 5 kids at home. And I thought, what can I do? So little by little, I thought, I think I'll do a little fair. And I made some clothing, and I put together some jewelry. And my husband at the time was like, yeah, just do it, get it out of your system. Well, the first one was a bomb. And I thought, no, I'm going to do it again. So I rented like a little 10 by 10, a country folk art. And that takes us way back to the 90s. I sold out by Saturday night. And I think when my husband showed up, he's like, oh my God, I've created a monster.
What have you done?
It was down. Like, I was traveling it took a lot of work, but within 2 years, I was traveling full time, the whole Western US, had my own line, and loved it. Yeah. And did that until the late 90s. And then what I was doing wasn't cool anymore. So I went back to nursing. But my mom was always telling me, you need to get back into it. You need to get back into it. And then 2008 came, economy tanked again. And finally, around 2013, I opened up an Etsy shop, and I have a whole line of jewelry there, which I'm now closing down and moving it over to Instagram. But some of the items that really sparked my love for vintage are these. And this is the part you know about. And my grandmother I have to remember it's in reverse.
Yeah, it's backwards.
Yeah, I know. So this is Bakelite. So my grandmother had given these to my mom after she
Aw,
passed away. My mom thought they were like cheap plastic. So they
no.
ended up in like her jewelry chest
Yeah.
for years. And then I moved back to Southern California from Texas in 2005. And I was watching Antique Roadshow
Yeah.
one Saturday, and they had a piece very similar to this one. I'm like, oh, that looks familiar. So I called my mom up and I said, hey mom, you know that plastic jewelry that grandma gave you? And she says, yeah. Random question, I know. And I said, do you still have it? She said, yes. And I said, I'll be right over. And I told her what it was, and she gave it
That's
to
cool.
me. That was my gateway drug into vintage, seriously.
Yeah.
And I have a huge Bakelite collection. And then like everybody else's stories, 2020 came. And like I said, I'm a nurse. And those were tough times. I mean, Monday through Friday, we're pretty busy. And the weekend, I was just like twiddling my thumbs, out looking for groceries like everybody else.
Right.
And I thought, what can I do? What can I do? Because to be honest with you, no one was buying jewelry on my Etsy shop because we were in a pandemic. Who's going to buy jewelry? So I was looking around all of the stuff that I had been collecting for years because it had started with Bakelite, but it went salt, pepper shakers, you name it. And I was collecting it for years, since 2005. And I thought, I would start selling this. So I hooked up with Carolyn, and I can't remember her shop name, but she's in Washington. And she befriended me. And then she told me about ISN. And this was like I think it was May of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then I hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing static sales. And then I got up the nerve to do live sales. And that was last summer. And I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
That's
awesome. It's been such a cool evolution watching everybody on their journey. Suzzee was doing live sales before I was. I came into the game last January. I started doing live sales in January of 2021? Yeah. Because it's been a year. So it's only been a year that I've been selling this way, and it's completely revolutionized and changed my business 100%. And my sales journey, most of you know, I started as a crafter on the craft show circuit, upcycling vintage jewelry. And it was a total bomb. And my pieces were really weird and quirky and artsy and strange and not for everybody. And so there just was not a huge market for it. But the craft shows were fun. I actually did quite well at craft shows. And then I got to Instagram. I'd sold on Etsy for a little bit, but it was kind of meh. I was tired of the listings and the fees and all that. So started on Instagram that way in 2014 with static listings. And then here we are. So it's been a whirlwind, and then going full-time from wedding photography over to this has been another whirlwind. And we talked about last week time management and all of that, which was a really productive discussion. And today, what I kind of wanted all of us to touch on, and if you guys have questions in the audience that are watching, please feel free to ask any questions. We're here to help too. But what we were really mainly going to touch on today is sourcing, because I think sourcing is its own enigma, part of this that, most of us love it. It's our favorite part of what we do. Let's be honest. However, it can get tricky and dicey at times also. So, let's go around and talk about what troubles you might be having. And I want to know also how often you guys source, best tips that you guys do, whether it's for estate sales, whether it's Goodwill or anywhere in between, auctions and the like. How do you guys source? How often do you source in relationship also to how often you sell? So again, we'll just go around. Suzzee, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I've been sourcing, like I said, since the 70s, on and off. But when I first started really sourcing in Montana, it was a lot easier. I'd go out every day, get up, not on the weekends so much, but because the stores were crowded and things were just kind of wiped out. So I would do Monday through Friday, get up in the mornings, be there when the store opens, kind of do my rounds of the store, and then I would have the rest of the day to do whatever. I had a booth at the time. Things have changed a lot, and I think a lot of it has changed since COVID. Is that we have 3 stores here in Billings where I live, 3 or 4. One is not that great. But the stores now are selling online, a lot of them here where I am in particular. So my sourcing, I've got to be more creative. So I'm doing more of the sourcing now at yard sales and estate sales. And, that's a lot of work. I think the estate sales are a lot of work because you're there with a lot of people that are doing the same thing that you are. So you've really got to get in there and be committed to get up early and go out there and get in line and play the game with all the rest of them. So that is what I'm doing. And then I'm also consider myself a home sourcer because I'm kind of sourcing through my home because I have over collected over the years, and a travel sourcer. So I'm going to have to do more traveling, even if it's just for, like you did the other day, Sarah, just, take a drive away from where we live, go for a couple-hour drive, do some sorting, have some lunch, and then come back. So because I'm more isolated in Montana, it's a little bit longer, a little bit harder for me to reach into other areas. But now that the COVID is kind of, eased up, we'll be able to get back out there and do that travel sourcing because that's where we really find a lot of good things in these little small towns. And I'm not going to lose out on, selling all my collectibles. I normally would sell more mid-century modern stuff, but lately I've been branching out because of the fact that I just didn't have the means to get out there and source as much. So I learned a lot about kitsch, which I'm really starting to love. And also my jewelry. So the jewelry, there's never a shortage of jewelry, you guys. You can source jewelry all the time. I mean, I'm always finding jewelry. You've just got to look and ask, even ask at yard sales. When I walk up to a yard sales, I'll say, do you have jewelry? Because most of the time they haven't brought it out. They forgot or oh yeah, I do actually. And they'll go in and bring stuff out. So
that's
just
cool.
Sure
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Just be sure and ask when you go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've been working on.
I hear that. So in relationship to how many sales you do with Suzzee, do you feel like you have to actively source weekly? Do you source monthly? What's your method there?
I go out every week, at least 2 or 3 days a week. I'll go out. I still do hit the thrift shops and stuff. My jewelry sales, even though I'm still buying jewelry, I don't really need to. I've got thousands and thousands of, pieces of jewelry to sell, but I do 3 sales a week. And I plan ahead. So if I know I book my calendar, I book my sales 2 or 3 months in advance. So say David, we do a sale every month. They do a sale with David. I have a box and it just got David on it, and so I know that this is going to be my box for David, and I just start to collect things and put it in. And usually I end up, by the time the sale's there, I'll have more things than I even need for that sale. But I like to kind of gear my sales to be complementary to my partner. So, I'll think about who I'm selling with. If they're, if they sell kitsch, okay, I'm not going to completely step away from who I am, but I do want to complement, what they have so that we partner well. So that's kind of how I set up my sales.
Yeah, that's smart. I do that too. Definitely. What about you, Cheri? What's it like where you are?
Well, it's interesting when you said you wanted to talk about sourcing, because one of the reasons when we lived in California, I started this was I thought selling online is something that I can start my own business and move it. That my husband's jobs change, I can move it along. And the surprise, and it's not completely fair. Now I'm in Philadelphia. It's not completely fair because we did move in 2020. So I think everything's in flux. But I think that the lesson is, first of all, if you're going to be in any kind of reselling vintage, it's always going to change. It was especially a lot of change the last few years. But I was surprised at how much time it's taking me to learn how to source in a different area. Everything else translates like shipping is shipping.
Right.
I've got those down. So, and because we were moving and putting everything to storage and I wasn't able to source our last bit in California, I don't have a backlog of inventory. I used to. It's all gone. Well, I kept just what I'm keeping. So I source much more than I sell because I'm, one, trying to build up some of the inventory, and two, learning about how it is in this particular area. So I haven't gone in this area, these estate sales to be, they've been fun. I picked up some things for my new house, but I haven't found them to be at the price point for reselling. Whereas in California, yes. And then of course the weather's different. We can only do yard sales here in the summer. So I'm trying to make sure that at least one day a week I go to the places that I've already found that I know I can find things. And then one day where I'm going to new places, and sometimes it's a hit and sometimes it's a miss, but you learn what's in what area. And even if, sure, you go to a thrift store, maybe another reseller was there right before you, so there's nothing that I find, you can tell what their prices are if this is a store that's going to work for you. You know, you can go into a thrift store and, okay, everything here is more than I could sell it for, then I know their model is not.
Right. Yeah.
So, but I'm really looking forward to this spring where things have opened up and really checking out all the flea markets in the area, and auctions seem to be where a lot more is happening in this area than estate sales, but they've moved online, and I'm curious to see how that will go, because when they moved them online, it sort of became a cross between reselling prices, retail and wholesale.
Yep. I've noticed that too, Cheri.
And so I don't know what will happen. And so I'm just going to keep trying. The thing is that I love it. We love the sourcing. You know, if shipping was this frustrating, we would probably all with it. But it's like, I don't care. If I go to an estate sale, well, and I didn't find anything to resell, it wasn't to me a wasted day. You know, I love going places and looking at what is there, even if it's not for me. So So I would say right now the sourcing is a huge, if I was putting an hourly rate on things, it was a huge unproductive part of my business. But in terms of my growth and where I want to be a year from now, I think it's time well worth it and well spent. And fun
stuff out there. I completely relate to that. And I know those of you, I know Liz is in California, like my friends in California really seem to have a hard time too, just price wise, finding affordable things, and it's kind of starting to get like that here. So I'm getting a little nervous. What about you, Liz? Where are things now?
Well, sourcing is one of the things that I love to do. I look forward to Saturday afternoons usually when I'll go, and after I'm done packing. But where am I going? Yes, you touched on something. It is expensive here. It is definitely more expensive in Southern California, but oh my goodness, we have tons of choices here. So I'm kind of over the thrift thing. We have a local store here called Savers, but it's usually picked through, and the time that I spend in there to come out with just a few items.
Yeah.
And which, you know, when you're out thrifting, sourcing, or I call it picking, one of the greatest temptations I've had to learn how to squelch is, oh, it's such a great price.
Yeah.
But then it's still in my death pile. Inventory. So that's something you can't do. So I took the woman that I have doing all my shipping now on Saturday mornings, that's a whole nother deal. I mean, that's a game changer.
Yeah, you got a woman. I need a woman.
Yeah,
I know. I'm like, I have a husband. That's
my husband. It's my friend's daughter, and she's amazing. She's been coming every Saturday morning. So not this last Saturday before, we had just jewelry, so it went pretty quick. And I told her, I'm going to take you someplace. It'll be fun for a change. And but I'm not telling you where we're going. And so we drove up to one of my favorite little locations, which is like a little antique mall that I love. And then she's like, how do you do it? And it's like, okay, what I do is I don't go in with an agenda. If you have a list before you go sourcing, just crumple it up and throw it away.
Yeah.
What you need to do is just tune in to what your instincts are because, you know, if you spent any time at all selling or buying, you know what's hot.
Yes.
And so you go in there, and it was so funny because I would zip, 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 zip through the aisles and just grabbing. And I was done in 30 minutes. She's like, how do you do that? It's like, well, I've been doing it for 2 years now. And I've learned from my mistakes of like, oh, this is such a great deal. Only, $1 a plate. They'll have the plates. So anyway, I love Kitsch and I love MCM. As far as my jewelry goes, I just source from myself because I got a pile, just like you do. I don't even need to buy jewelry. But the other stuff, I do have quite a large inventory now.
Yeah.
And so if I don't go sourcing for a few weeks, I'm okay. Some of the tricks I've learned also, if you're and fleas are great too. I like flea markets a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So if you buy from the same dealer, try to bundle your stuff.
Yep.
And ask for a bundle discount. Most of the time, you can do it, especially if you keep going back to them. So you can get some good discounts that way. I also am a huge fan of online auctions. They're hit and miss, but stuff that I really find that I know 99.9% they're going to go. Then sometimes I luck out because everybody else is busy. Nobody bids on it, and I get it for a steal. The only thing you got to watch is the shipping.
Yeah.
So you can eat it in the shipping. So be careful. But estate sales, well, I love estate sales, but after the epic estate sale that will always live in
infamy.
Yeah,
but that's all you have to say is the epic estate sale. We all know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's kind of spoiled me for other estate sales because it really raised the bar. Stephanie knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Steph was there.
I saw you on here, Stephanie, because we went together.
Yeah.
It was absolutely mind-blowing. So, I try not to go like with expectations. I think that's the big takeaway is don't go with a list. You'll be frustrated.
Yeah.
And even estate sales, I'm learning it here. But when I was in California, it got to the point that I knew which companies I liked and which companies I didn't.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Against particular companies, it's just they work for me, and how.
Definitely. There's a certain name that I stay away from because, not because they're bad, they're good, but they really cater towards they hug the coast and they're very pricey.
Yeah.
And good for them for getting it, but that I'm going to go to a different one for me.
Right. Yeah, It's just not right for me and what I do.
Right. And don't underestimate church bazaars and church markets when they have them. I've gotten great stuff and I look forward to those. I have them on my calendar. I know when they're going to come around again because they usually are really, really good.
Good idea.
They aren't personally attached to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I'm running this church yard sale and you all just gave me your items, I'm not being, but this was grandma's or, you're not attached to it. So they're just ready to price it.
They're ready to just move
Good
it.
point.
Unless they have taped up next to the items, printouts of what it's listed on eBay.
Yeah. I hate that.
You know what? It's the eBay price isn't even the real price because it's the best offer.
Well, and that makes it a very, the internet has made it a very even playing ground for everyone because anyone can open up a computer now and look for pricing and get a feel for what maybe things are selling for and what they should ask for. So I think that's what's raising the prices up at these places where we're used to sourcing. So
absolutely. Right. Difference being though that eBay is what they're asking, not necessarily what they're selling. Sure. And also they have time and millions of viewers. So, but it's just a way to know because some days you'll say, wow, I have 10 yard sales I want to hit and you want to maximize your time. So you might, if I walk to 1 yard sale and see nothing but eBay printouts, I'm like, I'll do a very quick scan and then go to the next one. Just
Yeah. Well, and I've been trying to, I know doing this now full time, I've been trying to schedule a day in my calendar where we go picking at least once a week. So we have at least one set day to pick. And sometimes it fluctuates days, sometimes it doesn't. But it, it just depends on what my sales calendar basically looks like that week. But when we go, what we've been trying to do each time is this set picking day will hit all the thrifts, right? And then the next set picking day, we will hit all the flea markets. And then the next set picking day, we will head 30 miles out of town and hit everything there. And then we'll go to another place the next set picking day. And so that way we try to keep our spots fresh because there is a lot of resellers here. I have a ton of people that are picking the same spots that I'm picking daily. So I have to get creative in how I find things. But again, we have the benefit with our ARC thrift stores here that they don't put anything online like Goodwill.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a different mindset too when you're in the thrift store versus the antique mall. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The thrift store, I'm like, can I make money on what I'm seeing here? Whereas when I go to the antique mall, I'm specifically picking out maybe a higher dollar item that I'll pay up for. Because I know that it's desirable. I know that it'll sell. I've seen it sell in another live sale and that kind of thing. So for me, I try to do all the spots. I don't just thrift. I don't just do antique malls. I don't just do estate sales. We try to do a little bit of everything. I will say though, estate sales give me anxiety. Like when you're sitting there with the bag and you're ready to go in and like, it just makes me want to like, I don't know. It's almost too competitive for me. Like I just kind of want to do my thing quietly. And so sales are probably my least favorite, honestly. Just that's a personal thing for me. But sometimes we will end up too, like one of the local estate sale companies here, I've gotten to know them. And there are two that we definitely hit, just like what you were saying, Cheri, where some of those companies, you're like, I am not going to their estate sales because everything's retail. But other companies, I've gotten to know people and they'll give me a bundle deal. And I walk out of there with the most ridiculous deals. It's like getting everything for $1 or something. So, it just depends on the venue and where you live. But I will say, living here in Colorado Springs, we're a military town. So that really benefits us too, because there's people constantly in and out of here, moving, retiring, that whole thing. So you've got people that have traveled the world and then they come here, retire or pass away. And then, oh my gosh, here's all the stuff. So we are in a good spot for that. But like when you go to Denver, you go to the big city for the vintage, it's a lot higher. And I have friends that are in Denver that are thrifters and pickers, some in ISN, and they still find good stuff at their ARCs. And the prices are still decent, but they're just a little more picked over than here. So again, I think location is huge. What were you going to say?
That antique malls as a place to source it's not always the best place for me. I don't have a huge following yet, and I may or may not have the audience. But I still think sometimes you find things that they just want to get rid of. They're tired of it. But I love antique malls for educating myself too, because I do a lot by feel. So if I can pick up a piece of, whatever it is, a ceramic or a brand of glass, the more you've gotten to hold them, then when you are at the thrift store or the estate sale or the flea market, you know it because you felt it, you held it, you know what the weight is supposed to be. So I still find it's helpful. But if I was like, I need 15 items for a sale, the antique mall would not necessarily have 15 items.
Right.
Well, and that comment about touching things and holding things, this is kind of off topic, but when I do my live sales, I like to make sure and get that point across to people. This has good weight, or this, the feel of this is, rough or soft or whatever. And I think that as live sellers, that's part of, our job to help you guys, because we know the frustration of not being able to hold something in your hand. So, that's something else to keep in mind as a seller.
Yeah. Well, I have the trouble. I feel like my biggest struggle a lot of times with doing this whole thing is keeping and sourcing the inventory. I think that's that and the time management. But the inventory, I think the constant pressure to find desirable items, good items, items that you actually enjoy bringing to people that you're knowledgeable about. Oh my gosh, it can get to be a lot, especially when you're doing this full time and you've got 3 to 5 sales a week, you know? So I've had to really be smart about rationing my inventory. So typically when you do a sale with me, I can only bring 15 items because I'm curating for another sale that week and another sale, and that adds up quickly. That's if you have 3 live sales a week, that's 45 items per sale. I mean per week. So when you think about the volume of that, and then my husband and I both have a shop. So he usually does 1 to 2. So I'm constantly like stressed out about inventory. Do I have enough? Can I make these 15 items stretch? You know, that's part of my issue. But what I do
And we
love,
don't want to bring junk, and you don't want to bring junk forward, you know.
exactly. You know, and that's one thing that I was going to add that I was thinking about when you guys were talking to is what I'm trying to do as far as my sourcing skills and honing my sourcing skills is I'm trying to resist the urge to buy the item that will sell for $12. It's $2 at the thrift store. It's cute. Do I really want to mess with it though? Is like a $10 profit worth it to me? Sometimes, yes, I cannot resist because it's cute or whatever it is. And then sometimes I'm like, Sarah, leave it for someone else. Let it be, because I'm trying to source things that start in like a $20 price range versus starting stuff in a $10 price range. Now, again, that depends on my inventory, what I can find, and maybe who I'm selling with too. But I think that for the most part, that's what I'm working on personally, is trying to leave behind. I'm only going to be able to make maybe $8 out of this. Do I really want to mess with it? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Good point.
And I think that people watch us. They've gotten to know that the ISN sellers or the Etsy sellers, however you want to group us. I mean, not Etsy, Instagram. We bring things that they don't have to sort through. You know, they don't have to go and do what we're doing and sort through the things that they don't want. We're bringing things that are good quality and ready to go into their homes. So
yes,
I like that about Instagram. I feel like in general, the shoppers, they know good product and they appreciate. Yeah, I know, Sarah, you might have bought this for 20 and I'm paying you 40, but you spent all day out there looking for it and cleaned it and you're shipping it to me. And so I like that the buyers, I feel like they value my time, not just what I'm selling. And I also like the ISN shopper values that it costs to ship, that none of us are making money on shipping, and nobody's giving me a hard time about my shipping prices. They know that we're giving them the best we can, and that's just a part of it. And I think they realize, I mean, I'm a buyer too. I'm like, hey, it costs what it costs to ship. I wish I had found that cool item, but I didn't, and that's what it is. And I'm not saying, well, geez, can you give me $20 off because this 5-pound thing costs so much to ship? So yeah,
right, yeah. And I love that. You know, that is a part of the community, is everybody pretty much knows what to expect. Like 98% of us use Pirate Ship. And we all use PayPal, or I know Suzzee uses Square, which is also totally secure form of payment. So, I mean, you know that you're going to be dealing with reputable people that are working hard to find you really cool stuff. And, you know, when you're thinking about pricing, do you guys ever factor that into your pricing as far as like time spent picking and sourcing and cleaning and all of that? How do you guys decide how to price things?
That's one of the hardest things about this, the pricings. That's a whole nother show, I think, too, Sarah. But yeah, pricing. You know, I think about what I paid for it and what goes into it, what the worth of it is. You know, that's really the main thing is what is this really worth? Is this something that everybody is out there looking for right now and can't find? And you know, is this something that's in right now? And so that has a lot to do with it. And I tend to start pretty low. If I'll look if I source something and I'm not sure of how to price it, and I go online and I do my little Google camera or whatever, and I see the prices, I'll find the low. I'm not looking for the highest price as a reseller. I'm looking for the lowest price. So I go in and find the lowest price that I can find on that item, and then I will come below that, because I don't want to, I'm not trying to, I want them to still have, maybe they're reselling it. Maybe they want to buy it from me and resell it. That's fine. That's great. I'm glad that we have reselling, buying and reselling. So I want to be able to give them that price. So you think about that when you buy it. You think, like you said, is it worth it? How much can I possibly make on this? And sometimes I am fooled. I'm fooled. I can't sell it. I'll say, I thought for sure this would sell, and it doesn't sell, and I'm selling it for less, but that's part of the business, and that's fine. Or I donate it back, and and I'm running it as a legitimate business. So I do, take write-offs on things like that.
Oh, absolutely. And you can claim it as a loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Loss in inventory. Mm-hmm. So I think that sourcing, for the most part, like I said, is our fun spot. Who doesn't love to go picking? You know what I mean? You get in the car, you got your coffee, you're ready to go, but go find all the things. And it's exciting, and we get addicted to that part. But what one of you mentioned, your death pile. And I think that is, when we're talking in terms of how we pick and how we source, I don't know about you guys, but I have a tendency then to pull an item that's exciting for my next live sale. And then I want to curate something because it's all got the same color scheme. And then what I have left on my inventory shelf is all my lesser desirables, which are under $12. It's that weird $12 price point and under that I keep finding is left on the shelf,
Yeah, and I call it my leftover shelf.
Yeah, it is a leftover shelf. And so what I've been talking with some of my coaching clients about doing too is, when you have that death pile or you have those leftover items that you've already put all your most desirable items in your live sale, what do you do with what's left? And I think there's a couple different things that you can do. One thing that I know David and I have done that's been successful in the past is we've had our big indoor garage sale, and we've done it live, and it is a ton of fun. However, I will tell you, when you do that, it is a ton of shipping. So prepare yourself. If you have a whole bunch of littles, you're going to be shipping solid for the next week to 10 days. But at the same time, it feels so good to at least get back what you paid for some of those littles. You know what I mean? So that's one thing you can do. Also, I like to list statically in my shop what hasn't sold in live sales. And a lot of times, it will get claimed, or vice versa. If it's something that statically was sitting in my shop for 3 weeks and didn't sell, I may bring it to a live sale. And then suddenly, you've got an audience for it. It was funny. I sold something last night on my YouTube sale with Misty and Michael and David that I had in another Instagram sale that didn't sell. So multiple platforms, multiple ways to try to get those little leftover items out of here, I think is great. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, or have a small sale. That was another thing David and I were going to do. We didn't get to do ours last week, but that's a fun way to go, is do a straight claim sale, but do it live. So you hold up an item, and once you say the price, the first person that claims it, boom, it's theirs, go to the next item. And that's a quick way to power through some stuff that you just want to get rid of, that you want to, turn your inventory over and make room on those shelves for more. Because I know I can only hold so much at a time, and I put my new inventory on the shelves, and then I curate into my sales. Like you were saying, Suzzee, you have a bin for David's. I have a bin for my monthly sales. I have a bin for my weekly sales. And then I have a bin for my rotating sales that I do on Thursdays. So I'm constantly curating what's going to be in what bin for who. And that seems to work well for me. Here's a question, guys. When you source, do you immediately list your inventory, or do you stockpile it and do it all at once? My memory isn't great, so I have to write down my costs within 24 hours. Aging isn't fun. I feel you, Kim. Okay, Suzzee, Liz.
I'll take that one.
Stockpile. Yeah, I stockpile.
Yeah. Me too.
I do.
Go ahead,
I
Liz.
do both. I do both. So one thing that I do as soon as I get home, well, actually, if I'm at like an antique mall or somewhere where I buy it, I will actually take pictures of the price tags, because antique malls like to rip the tags off, and then they just give you a receipt that's not itemized. You have no idea what's what. So I'll take pictures as soon as I go home. It goes in my book, so I know what I paid for it. And then, which has been a lifesaver for me, because then I know what my base cost was.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to remember. I don't remember. So some will get stockpiled. A few will go to a live, because I already got it in mind what I'm going to do. So it's kind of divvied out. What I was going to say, Sarah, is I really like your idea about doing, I attended your indoor yard sale. I think I bought some stuff.
Yeah.
So I do like the idea, but the good thing is I recently looked at my death pile. That's such a terrible name, but there's nothing that's been added to it for the past year. So the inventory I've been buying
is turning. Good.
Yeah.
And that's where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, once you do this for a while, I know when I first started, I would buy things that I thought were like super pretty, but then once I learned what it was, that it's super common and it's actually Avon, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, Avon's
I think we've all done that. You know what I
We've done
mean?
that.
You get something home and the sticker's over the bottom and you're like, Avon.
Yes.
You know? That, and that happens, especially when you're new and you're first learning what's what. And you'll have those little leftover items too that you thought were fun and quirky, but maybe nobody else was into at all. So, that's in your death pile, and it's got to go somewhere. And again, I do love feeling that feeling when you clear the shelves and you've either donated some stuff back or you've sold it and just gotten your money back for it. Honestly, if you can just break even, I think sometimes too, on those littles that are left, like that's the best feeling. John, I feel you. I know some Avon is so fun and so cool. And then some, you get it and you're like, oh, this is this really cool glass, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, Avon. So
well,
I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Thing is, I allow myself 2 buckets in the garage. The rest of the stuff has to be in the studio and has to move through my sales. But the 2 buckets that I put in the garage, I'll put them out there 6 months later, bring them back in, put them back on the shelves, and bring them back to a show. And a lot of times, for some reason, miraculously, now people want them. So
isn't that interesting?
I'll give them a 6-month life in the garage. If it doesn't, when I bring them back in the second time, if they don't sell, then they go away. So I don't immediately send them off to donate. I'll let them relive another day.
See, and I don't always know what I exactly paid for something, because a lot of times I do bundle, like an estate sale or flea market. And I don't want to say I don't care, because obviously I care. And your whole business is made at sourcing, right? Buying the item and the price is what's going to give you profit or not. But at the end of the day, if I'm selling this cup, it's worth what it is today. So I kind of don't care what I paid exactly for that cup, but I just know that I'm trying to buy in the low and then get what I can, sell it for what it's worth. So my inventory, there's 2 ways, well, probably more than that, to do your inventory, but I just do what I've spent and what I've brought in. And that's how I determine that it's working for me.
Yeah, that's great. And I think too, that's, it's important. It's also funny how a lot of times when you're sourcing, you'll find an item out picking, right? And then you throw it in your live sale Thursday night, it sells. And then the next week you find it again. Does that ever happen to you guys? And you're like, what kind of weird synchronicity am I in? Like, this is so bizarre. I just sold this and now I found another one. Or you're outsourcing and you find 2. That's my favorite thing. I'm like, ooh, I've got choice. Instantly, that's what I think of, And for those of you that may not know, choice, what we do in live sales is we'll hold up 2 items, give out the price, and then the winner gets to choose which one they want, or they can choose both. So I love it when I have those weird moments where I'm like, I've got double.
Yes, absolutely. And I see that question popping up.
Yes.
I have become almost 100% live sale seller. I do put a few things on my feed. I have never sold in my stories, but I'm trying to take my time and my energy and just devote it to my live sales, since I do 3 a week. And so I think it's up to you as a seller, where you want to put it, where you want to, whether you do story sales or feed sales, but I'm making it and holding it with pretty much just my live sales.
Mm-hmm.
And where you are in your life.
Right.
If you're a mom with 3 young kids, you're probably going to want to do more static sales than live sales.
Right.
Yeah.
You have them overnight.
Yeah, just depending on what your schedule dictates and what it looks like for you. Now, renovative home, I will tell you, as far as when I find something or buy it, I don't immediately offer it up for sale, because I prefer to curate my sales, because I do have to ration my inventory. I wish that I had enough inventory where I could be like, yeah, you see this, you want it, it's yours. But I don't. So I have to preview my inventory strategically, and then also bring it to my sales strategically, so I can stretch it throughout my week. I know some people, though, it is a good question, because I know there are some shops that have really good success with doing story sales.
Yeah.
And if you are someone that enjoys, like, when you're outsourcing, going live and selling and doing a shop with me, and charging a buyer's fee and what have you, I think that's great. That is another fun way to source, especially higher dollar items. You can actually pick up something for $70 because someone's willing to pay $70 plus a 20% or 30% buyer's charge. And then, you've made your money, the small business made their money, and your customer got what they wanted. So, it's kind of a win-win. I think those are really cool. Like I said, I recommend that to more seasoned sellers, because it's a lot. You almost need another person with you to keep it all straight. But I think it's such a cool thing to do. And I'm seeing it work for some ISN shops, and it's really, really a great way to go. A story sale would be literally if you're posting things to your story from your static sale and then putting a price on them. I think that's a great way to go. You'll find too, it's a totally different demographic that watches your stories, then looks at your posts, then also watches your reels. So, definitely try to cater to all of the different places where you can show people what you've picked and what you've sourced.
Yeah.
I don't keep everything for live sales. There are some things that I'm like, I'm buying this, and I know I'm strictly buying this for my monthly static sale. Typically, of course, with live selling, it's going to be your best of your best, cream of the crop, that you're going to put in your live sales. Here's a good question. Do you ever try to sell an item in a static sale and then show it in a live, or do you always show it in a live first and then static? What about you guys?
Usually it's the other way around. What I call is my highlight items, like the focus items.
Mm-hmm.
Like last weekend, I went out and I scored. It was fantastic. And so I've had 3 lives this week. The first one was yesterday, second one's tonight, third one's tomorrow. So I kind of spread them out, so it's not all one. So I've got some that draw people in, and then if they don't sell, then 2 already have. But if the rest don't sell, then I won't immediately put them on a static sale, because they're higher dollar items.
Right.
So I'll just wait, because very often, this is super important, is I don't know about you guys, but I know me is after sale ends, almost always I'll get a DM from somebody who attended the sale saying, hey, is that still available? So that happens a lot. So I'll wait, and because I know they're really, really good items. So I'll hold on to them for a few weeks and try them again, because I always think that if something doesn't sell, it just hasn't met its criteria.
That's right. I agree with that 100%. I do the same thing. I recycle my inventory. If it didn't sell on a particular live sale, I know that I may just not have had the audience for that item that night. And that is okay. That's just the way it goes. I will tell you, in doing enough live sales now, I'm just so grateful, even when people come and just hang out and comment, because that also, you guys, that really helps our sales. I love interacting with you guys in the comments. And I think it's important as a live seller to recognize the audience and talk to your audience and listen to people and, laugh along with the comments. It's all good. Jeanette said, I'm new to Instagram sales. How do you find static sales? So Jeanette, we all sell together under some hashtags on Instagram. So ISN member is a hashtag that denotes that we all sell together as a group. An ISN member item is the one that you want to shop. An ISN member item is literally everything that's listed from over 500 sellers statically in their shops for sale currently with price. So when you search hashtags, guys, you always want to make sure that once you type in that hashtag and you do a search, sort the hashtag by recent first. And that is really, really important because you're going to actually see the most recent posts that people have posted for sale under that hashtag. So always sort your hashtags by recent when you're shopping. That makes a big difference.
All right.
Now, go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I just agreed with you.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So speaking of shopping and so on, what I wanted to also let you guys know about real quick, that I think is a huge tool that I've been using recently. And I think all of you guys that are sellers, this is such a handy thing to do. Basically, what I'm talking about is the new feature that has been rolled out on Instagram. Sorry, I was pulling up my phone so I can show you. And basically, these features were rolled out this last month or so, maybe January they were. So what you can see is today I previewed on Instagram ISN Vintage Real Talk with these lovely ladies that I'm with, right? So you see right there in the corner that little bell that is on my post. As a customer, customers can tap on that bell and it will set them as a reminder for whatever it is that you want to remind them of. Now, setting that up as a post when you are a shop is really easy. So you can't do it on reels, by the way. You can only do this on posts. It will not let you do it on a reel. So you pick whatever photo that you are wanting to use. And then when you are doing the post, you see where it says add reminder right there. You're going to tap that. And that add reminder is going to, you can actually create reminders to do continually. So like I always have on Wednesday, Wicked Good Vintage with Amy on YouTube, I have a reminder set so I can use that for my post. And then anybody that's a customer can tap on that post and it will remind them the day of my sale at the sale time.
Right.
So you guys, it is so handy. If you're not using it, use it. The best part that I love about it too is when you're sharing to stories, as most of us do. So you see the posts that I have reminders on, right? So like this one is for Wicked Good whoopsie, hit the wrong one. This one's for Wicked Good Wednesdays, right? So when I tap on that post and I hit the little paper airplane right there, that little paper airplane then will allow me to post that to my story. When I hit post to story, look what it does. It adds get reminder right there. So then when people watch your stories, they can tap on get reminder and boom, then they can get a reminder that way too. So totally handy. If you're not using this as a shop owner, it is wonderful. Whether you're selling on Insta and you're trying to whether you're selling on YouTube and you're trying to cross promote, or you're just scheduling your Insta live sales. This is another thing to remember too, that I wanted everybody to know about. On Insta lives, you can now schedule them and they will show up on your profile. So see, I've got there's my logo, there's my followers, there's my bio, and see right underneath that, it says live video, ISN live sales with Vintage Bulldog, March 3rd at 7 p.m. So whenever you want to schedule a live sale and you want it to show up on your profile like that, you're going to go into the little plus button, just like you're going live. And you're going to hit live right down here. When you hit live, it is going to bring up this little calendar down at the bottom. You hit that little calendar and you see where it says add up there in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
That is where you can add any of your upcoming live sales and have it show up on your profile. And then you can even add a post to it, you guys. So I made my reminder first, and then I added this post, which is later, with the reminder automatically.
Nice.
March 3rd at 7 p.m.
It's a lot easier than every individual tagging.
Yes, it's a lot easier.
Awesome.
And that's what I've been doing too. When people are like, can you tag me now?
Okay.
Which of course I'm still happy to tag my customers. Don't get me wrong. But it is so nice when you're like, hey, you can direct your customers to say, go ahead and set an alarm. And that way you don't forget. And then it sends them a reminder. So pretty cool.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, I love that.
I love all that.
Yeah. So definitely use those new reminder features, schedule your live sales out. And that way, then when people can, I call it RSVPing for the sale. You know, if you want a reminder, then just RSVP, tap on it and you're good to go.
Nice.
Very-
Yeah,
I'm gonna try it today. As soon as we get off, I'm going to try it.
definitely do. Stephanie said, I really appreciate the invites to live stuff because most of the time I forget. And if it's going to be on IG or YT, and I know it's extra time for you, but it means a lot. Absolutely. And that's the thing, you know, I'm happy to tag people. I'm happy to, show people how to set reminders. And then that way, you know, it's easier for all of us. So yes, as a shopper, the reminders and tags are helpful. I'm scatterbrained and I don't miss out. Exactly. And for those of you that may not be asking yourselves, what's a tag? Suzie, Cheri, Liz, what are tags and why do we do them?
I remember the first time I saw that, I had to ask a seller, what does tag mean?
Yeah.
It just means that if you ask us for a tag, it means that we will let you know when that sale comes up or when that item's going to come up. So you can say, tag me with that item if I preview something, or you can say tag me for your live jewelry sale. I don't want to, that's like, we'll let you know when it's coming up. And then you'll get a little reminder in your DM on your page that we're here or the item's here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's just a way for us to basically tag your username. And the way to do a tag is you type in the @ symbol and then the username. And you can also get those to auto populate as well. So very handy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just a reminder so you know when the sale is. But I love the fact that you can then move that post with the reminder to your stories. And then the people that watch your stories can literally just tap, get a reminder, and it's set and it's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Love that.
I do too.
Really good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, such a fun feature. One thing I did want to briefly touch on to all of you too is monetization features. We do know finally come at 10K followers. So those of you that are striving and that are close, keep going.
And even if you're not close, keep going because you'll get
not close. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. I think that's one thing that I have found too with live sales when we're doing them is every time I do one, I get a few more followers and you're just increasing your exposure that much. And quad sales too, I think are a lot of fun too. So if you're new at this and you're wanting to get more exposures and all of the seasoned sellers you want to go live with are booked out, form some quad sales, you know, do 4 of you at a time. I think it's a great way to increase your buyer base and show up for one another too. And what's fun is if you each bring 8 items, which, you know, usually goes for about 2 hours, which I think is the audience attention span that's really optimal. Bring your best 8. Bring your best 8 items for those quad sales and really blow it out and make it into a fun sale. And sometimes less is more when you do that. So
I mean, it's remember, it's your business. It's your little business within all of us, and do what you want. We do, I do fun things like games, and Nicole and I play some
Yes.
games, and we've gotten known for that. Sometimes, you'll see people dressed up. You'll tune into a sale and they're dressed wacky. Great. That's fun. That's fun. It's part of the entertainment part of it. I'm a natural entertainer. So that part of this whole thing for me is the part that I love. So I want to make you laugh. I want to have fun. I want to, I even think about items I'm bringing that maybe it will create a conversation and something funny. So, you do with it what you want, and or be quiet and just be a seller and just bring the items. And there's people for those kind of sales too. But it mixes it all up. And I love when somebody's doing something wacky and kooky on their sale.
Me too. If you've ever attended any of my sales, I'm a big goofball.
Yes.
So we just joke around and have fun. We have to keep it T-rated now. Thanks, Instagram. But once upon a time, I was a little naughty in my sales, but I've reformed my ways, ladies.
That's all good.
It is. So here's a question for you guys. This week, first of all, I want you guys to show me one thing that you are excited about. I want Liz to tell a little bit about Bakelite jewelry and when you're sourcing it, how you can know that it's Bakelite. Okay.
I get asked that all the time.
And I wore my Bakelite in honor of you today.
Aw, I love it.
Those are pretty, Susie. I love those.
Thank you.
Susie's always so well coordinated. I'm just like a schmuck next to Susie. She's adorable. Girl. Always so cute. Always so cute. So, Liz, when we are out and we're looking at jewelry and we're like, is it lucite? Is it
Plastic?
Bakelite? Yeah, ladies, what's the method? How do you know?
I get asked this all the time. I have been doing it many, many years. Does 409 really? I don't do Amy. I don't do 409. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do a demonstration. So I've been collecting Bakelite for a long, long time. And most of them I can tell that that's just because I've done it. I would never suggest anyone just say, oh, it looks like Bakelite, must be Bakelite, because it isn't. Every now and then I get fooled. So here are two pieces that I have. Which one do you think is Bakelite? Or maybe they're both.
The left.
This one or this one?
The brown.
Okay. So I'm going to show you how to test. Okay. So what you want to use, and this might be backwards. It's semichrome polish.
Actually, on YouTube, Liz, it's not. It's actually right. So
Right. Okay.
That's the benefit of YouTube. Yes.
So if you guys want to write it down, it's semichrome polish.
Semichrome. I'm actually going to write this down.
Yes.
And you can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
Well, depends what state you live in. I just found out. I'm in California. I just found out the other day that they don't ship to California anymore. So I'm going to have it sent to my family in Texas, and they can send it to me.
Okay, that's so crazy.
It's all like crazy laws out here. So what you do is it's pink. And you might be able to find it in like a local like an auto parts store. So you take a Q-tip and a little bit of this, and you just put a little dab. You don't need much. So and it will be pink.
Okay.
And then you go on the inside of the item, and you rub just a dab on it. No more than that.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get okay. You take the other side of the Q-tip, and you just kind of rub it. And what you should come with, you should have like a nice mustard. Let's see if I can do this. Yellow.
Oh, it looks like earwax on a Q-tip. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
So after you're done, so this is Bakelite. So so it's pink, you just rub a little bit on. You use the other side of the Q-tip, you should get a nice mustard yellow on there.
Okay.
Okay.
So if it's Bakelite, it turns mustard yellow with this stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Then just make sure you rub the rest off. Okay, now I'm going to show you the other ones. You look.
Oh.
And Liz, is it and no matter what color your Bakelite is, it will turn mustard?
You're getting ahead of me.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll play that in a second. Yes, but you have a very good question. So the other one, the brown one, that you thought was Bakelite, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take a little bit on here, put it on the inside, take a Q-tip. Oh, what do you know? It's not. So
Okay.
this one tricked me. And I bought it online years ago, and it was sold as Bakelite. And 9 times out of 10, people know what they're doing. I see things sometimes online, even on Instagram, that say, "Hey, this is Bakelite," and I'll send them a DM and say, "Have you tested it?" Because I can tell by looking at it, probably isn't.
Yeah.
A few other things is the way that it sounds. I would not use this to judge, though, is it has a definite clink to it.
Oh, I never knew there was a clink. Okay.
A clink, and it has like a weight to it and a feel to it, but semi-chrome paste is the way you can tell for sure.
Okay.
409, I don't think is as reliable. I've never used 409. Some people say, "Oh, you just put it under hot water and smell it." My sense of smell isn't that good.
Now, I have rubbed it before.
My
Like
mom
I
used to
kind of
rub
use
it,
that.
yeah.
You do the thumb test where you rub the piece of Bakelite, whatever it is, and you
Yeah.
get it until it's warm. And
Right.
then I'll smell my thumb. And if my thumb smells like formaldehyde, and you'll smell it.
That's the
If
smell you're
thumb
looking
smells
for.
like formaldehyde, I'm like, that's Bakelite.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't, because my sense of smell isn't that great. I wouldn't go on that.
Yeah.
For me. But this is absolutely true. Now, you asked a good question, Susie, about every color. No. And the reason is that what you're testing for is actually the patina. So what you're testing is the amount of patina, and black can be a little tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
But so if, like, for instance, I have a bangle that I had someone refinish for me. So they sanded and polished it down to the original color, and it ended up being light blue, baby blue, because these aren't what they started off as. This is just the patina you're seeing. And so if I were to test that one, it probably wouldn't pick up, because what you're testing for is the reaction is a patina.
Okay.
Bakelite patina. So I found some black that will test, and then some that won't. So it kind of depends. Black can be a little tricky, but all the other colors I have not had issues with.
Right. Interesting. So red could test a little red then.
No, it's all going to be.
Or it will always show the
mustard.
mustard.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And yeah, and even I've been doing this for years and years, and every now and then I get tricked, because there's stuff out there. It's called Bakelite, and if you see like a seam on the inside, that's a dead giveaway. If you see a seam going, if you see a seam in the jewelry here, if it has no sign of wear on it at all, I would be highly suspicious.
Now,
and
what about the carved ones, ladies? I know, as far as like the carved and the smooth, like Suzzee, is that? Yeah, that's so cool. Oh.
That's a carved one.
Yes, I have one of those.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I have several.
It's so pretty. And Liz, I have my grandma's like the one you have. My grandma had the carved thin ones, so I have hers. And then one almost looks like rickrack that she has, and it's also Bakelite. So I've always just thought they were interesting, and I love finding old technology, like old radios also that are made of Bakelite.
Got one of those.
Yeah. Typically when you find them, they will sell for a little bit more too, because Bakelite is not made anymore. It was a plastic. I guess it was a plastic. It was a synthetic that was made 30s and up.
No, it was before, it was in the late,
20s.
no, right before then. I want to say in the late teens. But it was discovered by accident and by his last name is Bakelite in Europe.
Okay.
And he was working some other plastics, and it just happened by accident. So up until 1929, 1930, it was used for like the inside of parts of things.
It was like insulators for electrical stuff, right?
Yeah, and that was it. Then his patent expired in the late 1920s, and several companies like jumped on it and said, "Oh, this would be great for fun jewelry." And then the Depression happened, and women still wanted to look cute, but they didn't have the money. This jewelry sold like at local 5 and dimes, and it was very inexpensive.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't that blow your mind now?
It blows my mind. If I had been there, I would have been buying. I would have bought everything.
Yeah.
But this one here was my grandma's, and she bought it during World War II. And I can kind of tell you what era they're from, whether they're Art Deco. This is obviously early 40s, late 30s, early 40s with the war effort. My grandpa was a commander in the Navy, and he was in the Pacific Theater. So my grandma used to wear these. She has another one that says Mother on it. Okay, there. And
I like that one with the little drums.
With the little drums,
Cute. Yeah, those are cool.
So each era they got to be different. Yes, part of the ingredient in these is formaldehyde.
Yeah,
there is formaldehyde in it.
It really smells like when you find a piece and you rub it and you put the heat to it, you're like, oh, you definitely will know. Now, as far as lucite, ladies, do you have a particular way that you can tell that a piece of jewelry is lucite, or do you pretty much have to just blacklight it and go with that?
Well, actually, lucite is a type of plastic. Lucite is like almost like a brand name, but not a brand. It's a type of lucite. So there's lots of things that would fall under that umbrella that are it's a type of plastic. But if it's true lucite, it is a higher end. It's a much higher end, and it's harder and heavier. You know, sometimes you find a lucite piece that's very heavy and hard. That's probably the actual lucite in it. We call a lot of things lucite that aren't lucite. The same, lucite came out of, I think it was Corning or one of the companies that kind of, you know, was the same thing like Bakelite. You know, they were experimenting and said, oh, well, this is really good. Lucite is what they'll use in furniture. You know, you see the lucite furniture, that's going to be lucite because it's going to hold up more. But
how do you differentiate lucite from acrylic?
Well, you know, it's very hard to do. You can definitely tell it from celluloid because celluloid is very easily breakable. You know, it's an easy one to break. But lucite, is that a lucite?
Celluloid.
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's just something that you learn. The weight of it. I would say lucite's going to feel heavier to you.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, and that's one thing, like I just found some lucite grapes out and they glow and they're really heavy and they're green. But then I wondered, are these acrylic grapes or are they, because you always hear everybody, well, I've got lucite grapes.
Lucite is acrylic. Lucite is just a type of acrylic that is a higher end.
That is a higher end acrylic.
But the name lucite has now been, it's like Coca-Cola or refrigerator. People are just calling everything lucite. That's plastic. Lucite is actually a type of acrylic that is a higher end acrylic. But we've just got to know everything is lucite now. So
interesting.
I mean, if that's the honest, you know, story about lucite. But it's not any different. I mean, it's just a better mix than some of the other ones. So
cool.
So I can't tell. I mean, I can't tell the difference usually. If I'm looking at a piece of furniture, I'm going to say yes, that's lucite because they would use lucite on that and not plastic. So
that makes sense. Gia. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Very
But-
cool. Very cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
I think Gia knows her plastics.
oh yeah,
I think the comments I can't keep up exactly, but she knows.
oh yeah. Gia is a very knowledgeable buyer, and I enjoy that too.
Yeah.
Because I'm always seeking to learn. So I love learning stuff from buyers as well.
Oh, I
Great.
learn every day.
absolutely.
I love learning.
Me too. All the time.
Absolutely.
Every day.
I love to learn. I love to
Me
mentor.
too.
I love to source, and I love to entertain. So I found myself the perfect job.
You've got your niche,
Good.
girl. Yeah. And it can tell. I mean, you can tell, you always bring it to your sales, and it's always a fun time and a fun
Thank you.
experience. So ladies, let me ask you this. What did you find this week that is your favorite thing that you have picked recently, whether you're keeping it or you're selling it? And I want you guys also, our last question of the day will be, what is something that you wish you knew when you were new that you find invaluable to you now as a seller, as doing this whole Insta thing, whether it's live sales, whether it's static sales, and you can think about that. But yeah, Suzie, go first, and I'm actually going to go get my. I'll be right back.
I think I'll answer the question first. The first thing that I wish I knew was that how big of a community there is to help support me. I always thought that I was kind of alone in this, and just to know that community is there. You got to go out and seek it, whether it's having a booth and getting to know all the sellers in that in your little store that you're in, or this way online. This has been the biggest community of resellers. I could almost tear up the love that I've gotten, and how I've felt accepted, and how I feel like I'm not the only one. So if I would have known that, I think I would have, liked to have been around people that do it. I've always kind of been doing it on my own until I met my husband, and he likes to do it. But yeah.
Well, we love that you're a part of the community, and you're such a valuable part of the community. And for those that may not know, Suzie is doing ISN Vintage Closet now, which just started, and it's just a hashtag basically to locate all of the jewelry and accessory peeps that are in ISN. And there are some exceptional sellers that we have that use ISN Vintage Closet. So definitely follow that hashtag on Instagram.
And if anyone get into it, get in touch with me, and I'll help you, to get started. If that's your jam, you want to do jewelry, you want to do accessories, you want to do just purses or just shoes or clothing, anything like that, it's good. And having this separate hashtag is going to be great for us, because some people come on here and they don't want housewares and they don't collect the stuff. They just want to wear it. So this is a way for everyone to find that in this community. We want to get more people doing it.
Love that.
All right. The item, you want me to do my item now too?
Yeah.
All right. Since I have 2 pages, I brought 2 things. So jewelry wise, I found this great necklace. It is a necklace by Clara Studio. And I love it. It's asymmetrical. It's very 1980s. It's going to sit in my jewelry box until somebody wants it.
I love it.
I paid under $50 for it. It's from 1998, and it values on the resale market for $400 to $1,000.
Wow,
Suzie.
So this was my find of the week.
That is spectacular. And now I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, think about all the things that you left behind at the thrift store like that, Sarah.
Right.
I
mean, you got to really look. And when you do buy jewelry, look everywhere. Look everywhere for a sign. If I know gold almost by sight now, but look at the ends of things. Look at the very end. The mark might be there. The mark on this one is not at the end. It's in the center of the piece.
What brand is it?
Pardon me?
What brand is it?
It's the designer is Clara Studios out of New York. And it's
it's just Clara Studios. Interesting. That's something I would never know, hadn't heard of. That's so cool.
But now with our eyes, you can say, oh, this has a mark on it. Let me see what it is. Bring a little loop with you, read it, and then look it up, because you might have something really of value there that, and especially estate sales, when they sell their loved ones pieces, they may not know what the person had. I mean, my kids don't know what I have. So that's my find of the week for my jewelry. Now my other page, I told you guys I'm not near what Sarah is with the kitsch, but I'm starting to really get it for myself, buy it for myself. I've been buying from the kitsch sellers. And this is what I found this week.
Oh, that is so cute. Is that plush or is it
It's patent leather. It's like a patent leather or plastic. And then the little face and the collar. So I'm quite proud of this little piece. And it's pretty old. The tag, it looks very old. I haven't been able to find the exact one online, but the one I found that I did see online that kind of looked like it with the same lines was going for 40. So, and that's what they're asking, not what they're selling.
Oh, I love that, Suzzee, that Naga hide pink poodle. It reminds me of those of you that may have grown up in the 80s, Poochie. Did anybody, can I get a holler for Poochie? I love Poochie so much. Yes.
So he was sweet. And I don't usually find this kind of stuff, but now my eye is starting to go toward it because I'm kind of starting to collect it myself. So that was my favorite one from this week.
Well, that is so fun. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Cheri, your favorite pick in your thing you wish you would have known when you were new.
Okay. When I was doing reselling, I definitely wish I had gotten into the Instagram community sooner. I love having colleagues and coworkers. I love the community. I love the buyers and the sellers for sure. But when I joined Instagram, I wish I had joined a pod sooner. And I know we're probably running out of time, but a pod is where a group of us are put in the pod and we all comment on each other's and like each other's posts. And it really helps with the Instagram algorithm so that when I post something, because when you're a newer seller, you don't want to have as many followers. Then Instagram's like, wow, a lot of people like her post. I'm going to show it to more people. And the other thing that helped me was we comment on their posts. And at first I was like, I have to, at least 4 words. Like, what do I say? And now I have found it actually helps me network with a lot of new people because it's so easy now. It's secondhand nature for me to comment on somebody's post without making it a big deal because it's not. But sometimes we overthink things when we start. So I wish I'd found Insta sooner, and then I would have started potting sooner, but it was only a few months, so I'm okay. And then my find of the week, I am a very eclectic person. So I love finding things that I don't know what they are. And this is for me. This is a stack, 3 nesting. They're wooden boxes. Somebody handmade them. I don't know who.
Oh, wow.
And then they put it, so it's kind of got the shaker design, but then there's leather. And on the top too, leather. So I just love finding something that it just feels old. I love it. It's actually got the mid-century colors, right? Like how much mid-century furniture is this color?
Right.
Not. And so somebody made it and now I love them. So I love when you find something that you just never saw before. And I'm keeping it.
I love unique finds. I agree. David would love those, Cheri.
Well,
yeah. And I agree. I will tell you, what Cheri said about potting really is true. I started as a static shop and there were no reels or live sales back then, but static sales was how we sold everything. And I was in a pod for 4 years and I was in 3 pods. So I was potting for about 45 shops a day. And I know that sounds like a lot, but I was doing it part-time at the time. And I had the time and it was great. And it helped me get where I am. So if you are new and you're thinking about, wanting to increase your traffic and your engagement, definitely check into a pod. Tulane and Johnny's, her name is Julia. She is our pod admin and she can get you fixed up if you're interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if you're only doing live sales, I still think, some people are new and they have some amazing collections and they really take off in the live sales, but a lot of us are going to start, it's going to be slow but steady growth.
Right.
And they really do help you, even if you're only doing live sales, to grow your
I agree, Cheri. Good stuff. Good advice. All right, Liz, what you got?
All right. So I have 2 items that I picked up. I couldn't decide which. This one I'm going to keep for a while. It's a planter.
Okay, Liz, let me talk you out of that. You don't
want that, Liz.
That is so lame. Please, Liz, you even like that? What?
Why would you keep that?
And isn't that cute? And
no, it's terrible. No,
and Amy from Enamore, Amy, you know I always stumble over your name, Amy. help me ID this. So it's a Betson's Japan. Isn't that adorable? Like,
Liz, seriously, I love it so much. If you decide to sell it, hit me up.
Okay.
I will hit you up. Okay, but wait till you see what else I have. Okay. I'm making it for
Bidden, Liz. Bidden. Oh man, I have these.
You have these guys?
Mhm.
Chalk were from Miller Studio.
Yep.
And they're on a board, so I don't break them. But they have the little hooks on them. These guys are super cute.
They are super dang cute. And they look really good with the left and bluebirds too, by the way.
Oh yeah, I love left and bluebirds. I've got several. But honestly, eventually they'll get listed. They're gonna hang out with me for a little while.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, yes, that little bluebird planter wall pocket, whatever that was, so flippin' cute.
There's a little planter. Oh, it's flipping cute, all right. I snatched that baby. I told you the last 2 weekends I have scored. Sometimes there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
When I go out, it's all or nothing. It's been all the last 2 weekends. So I scored some major kitsch and MCM.
So awesome, because I am having, David and I were just talking about this yesterday. I'm having such a hard time finding kitsch where I am. You know, we were talking about sourcing. Oh my gosh, like the kitsch here is just picked over and gone, but you can find glass for days. So I'm like, well, I'll sell the glass until I can find the kitsch. So yeah.
When I find the kitsch, I'll grab them like as much as I can.
Oh yeah, me too. I'll even pay up now for the kitsch because
I do pay up a little bit for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do I wish I knew? Oh gosh. Well, let's see. I'm going to try, like you said, Susie, not to get emotional over this, but you guys, ISN came into my life at a crazy time. I was on my own for the first time in my life because my son had got married and moved out 1 month before the pandemic started. And so I didn't see my family for 15 months. My kids. Yes. And so you guys were really a godsend. And the community was just amazing. I mean, we're all like sisters and brothers from another mother. And we all think alike. And when I met Stephanie with Vintage Freight 32 for the first time, it's like we knew each other.
I know. I love her. She's one of my friends. Yeah. She's good people.
And so we just clicked right away, and it wasn't weird at all.
No, because we all like the same stuff.
Yes.
We're all within at least 20 years of each other. And I so enjoy the diversity. I mean, it's literally everybody from every walk of life, every age, every profession, we have everyone. And it feels like a little weird family. We're not a cult.
We're not a cult, but we are a little weird family.
No, and, you don't have to drink any Kool-Aid or anything.
No Kool-Aid. No Kool-Aid. So
but we connect through that. I think, Liz, to what you're saying is that we connect through what we all have in common, and maybe we have different political views, or maybe we have different, values and stuff. But the one thing we have in common is this, and it ties us together, and that's pulling, different types. That's what I love.
I would have to say that the piece of advice that I would pass along to anyone that's early in this journey or considering it is know your limitations, be open to helpful hints and even constructive criticism. Don't take it personally, but take it as an area for growth. Know your limits. And so that's what led me to hire someone to help me shipping, because I work full time. And I knew I needed help in that area. And a little kick in the butt is what I needed to do it. And it's made my life so much better. And my buyers are getting their shipments now. Quick, speedy, quick. In fact, I did.
You got your system down.
Bakelite sale on Thursday. They paid on Friday. They left on Saturday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's such a great feeling.
That's awesome.
I think this makes a great point, though, because when you're growing, something's going to have to give. You can't not do it all to 10 more hours a week, to 15, to 30. Some things you can't.
Yeah. I was spending hours doing packing.
I know.
like an entire weekend. And it's like, I can't do this anymore. So yes, it's been a major game changer. It gives me more time to get on Instagram and promote and do the other things that I never had time to do.
Like to do. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that that's really wise. And however that works for your business, even if you can't, you know, hire a shipping person and you're doing it all, you know, we do it all here from our kitchen.
Right.
So, you know, whatever that looks like though, once you get a system down that feels right to you, it makes it so much more smooth to be able to print out the sheets, put together the orders, you know, tissue, newspaper, bubble wrap, all those processes that we go through. If you get a system down to do it, it goes so much more quickly and you don't dread it as much, I think, too. And do it as many times as you need to or you can through the week so you don't get a death pile that then you have to ship. Because that's the worst, too, is when you look at that pile and it's so overwhelming. And stressful. You're just like, I'm not shipping today. No, you have to ship today. People have paid you for these items. You have to get them out the door, you know, in a reasonable amount of time.
You know, Sarah, what has really been good for me is I know that Natasha shows up at 9 a.m. on Saturday. And most weekends, except for one, I get in there and do it with her. So it's like I have a set time now. And we're always done and to the post office by 2 p.m.
See, that's so great.
But it's otherwise I'd be like drinking my coffee and messing around on my phone, watching TV. But no, it's like
matters.
Yeah. So it's like a schedule thing. So having her come, it's like it's become a very dedicated block of time.
Good.
And then we have fun while we're doing it because I have someone to talk to. And we socialize, and it's been a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. And that's the thing, you know, you can also put on a live sale in the background, watch a live sale of your friends, do your shipping, do your packing, you know, whatever you need to do. And I find myself doing that a lot. I will tell you, I will show you guys my favorite find this week. I'm not going to show you all of them, but I got 8 of these. And
so cool.
So these are Irene Pazinski glasses. They are mid-century. You can see her signature right here.
Oh my God, those are lovely.
Washington.
That's so nice.
And there's the Pazinski signature. It's kind of hard to see in the gold. These are 22 karat gold. And it is like a blue that fades into like a yellow, green ombre, and then a purple.
It's a peacock.
Yeah, peacock. Here's the other thing, you guys. It's so crazy. I cannot find these anywhere. I have researched since I found them. I have been looking for them. I dare any of you to find these on the internet and show me where you found them because I cannot find them. I have found other Irene Pazinski tumblers and glasses, but I cannot find this particular pattern. So I have used search terms, 22 karat gold, arches, ombre, peacock. I have used rainbow. I cannot find these glasses, you guys. So
send me a picture of it.
Anybody out there can help his sister out. I will, Liz. I will. I'll send you a picture. They are so gorgeous. So I will be selling these probably in the next week or so on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, they were my favorite find yesterday when we went out picking. So yeah, they look like mermaid scales. They do. They're really cool. So one piece of advice I wish I had known, let me think. I normally don't answer this question, but I will tell you, I think for me, getting some kind of organizational system saved my life, and I didn't have it in the beginning. So I was losing money on shipping. I didn't have a set shipping day. It was just kind of fly by the seat of my pants because it was my part-time gig. And now that I am doing this full-time as my jobby job, you know, I really have had to get organized and take a hard look at myself and my organizational skills and realize they have not always been up to par, but I'm getting there. So, you know, I think that especially with the small house that we have, getting organized has been half the battle for me. So if you feel like you're struggling and things are everywhere and, you know, you're not alone. We have been there. We've all been there. And get yourself system, get yourself some plastic bins, start curating your sales, make a shelf of new inventory that's listed or not listed, and then make yourself a shelf of things that are listed that could be going into future sales. Just organize your space and you will feel like a new person, I promise. So
That's a real good
I
point.
think periodically to go back and check your systems, because this
Yeah.
business is always changing. You're
Yes.
growing, you're changing. So what's working for me this month probably won't work in September.
yeah,
You know, I'll have to change some of my routines or
Yeah.
right. Yep, I
And
agree.
and we all have different ways of organizing, because I talk to a lot of sellers, and it is what works for you and all that.
Yeah.
But be organized before you even start. Try and it might not be the way that you end up doing it, but try and have a game plan, and not just jump in and say, oh, this looks easy to do, I'm going to try it. Think about it and set some things up. I kind of I don't coach anybody, but a friend of mine went into it, and she really took it seriously before. And she said, okay, in 1 month, I'm going to start, but this month I'm going to take my steps to get organized and ask. And she asked me tons of questions, and I helped her. And you can ask, I think almost any of these ISN sellers will help you out.
Absolutely.
So if you have a seller you buy from and you want to start selling, and you maybe having a relationship as a buyer seller, talk to them and they'll help you. We're not
Absolutely. No, and that's what the community is, guys. That
Definitely.
once upon a time when I started this, many years ago, I knew that if I was going to be successful on Instagram, it was going to have to be networking based. Oh, we lost Liz. There she is.
Okay.
And so, I think that is the beauty of what we do and the community that we have. And, that you can always reach out to anybody for help. You can reach out to our admin team. You can reach out to sellers that you admire, even if it's identifying items or whatever. I help people all the time. If you need one-on-one intensive help, setting up your shop, learning the ropes, if you have a ton of questions, if you have anxiety like me and you're just more comfortable talking in a one-on-one setting with someone, then hit me up. I am the Vintage Shop Coach on Instagram. The link is also in the description of this video. And I will be happy to help you however I can in a one-on-one setting. So as far as you guys, I don't do thrifting in colorful Northwoods. I have never had a booth. I know a lot of successful people that do brick and mortar. We focus most of our sales online because I feel it's most profitable this way. And I don't want to have to pay rent on something that I'm going to have to break even before then I can make a profit. So for me, this just works best.
I just closed my booth, and I've had a booth for over 20 years. And I just closed it because this was a much more lucrative way to go.
Yeah.
So if I can do anything.
So that's something to think about, thrifting in the colorful Northwoods. But of course, I wish you all the luck in the world, because I know many successful booth owners.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, on that, I don't have a lot of advice because I've never done brick and mortar. But if you're interested in Insta selling, let us know. Cheri, what were you going to say?
There's a couple of Facebook groups specifically for antique booths that might be a resource.
Oh, that's good.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So definitely check that out too, because I'm always looking to plug in. And that's actually where ISN organizes. If you're interested in joining ISN at some point as a seller, the link is also in the description of this video. And you can get to our ISN main group, which is for static selling. And then we have a separate ISN live sales Facebook group as well. So that's definitely Glick's picks. Maybe we'll hit that next week. Because I do have some advice on that, but I do hand my PayPal account basically over to my accountant and let him sort it out. So yeah, that's what's easiest for me.
Mhm.
So ladies, quick questions. What sales do you have coming up this week? Where can people find you?
You can always find me tonight, every Monday night. I do my jewelry show, and that's on my Vintage Jewelry Maven page. And it's called Baubles and Bling, and it starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And that show we do go long on. Most shows I go for 2 hours, but the jewelry show, when these ladies and gents get in there, they don't want to go to bed. So that will be
That's
a long
fun.
show. And
It's
then
always a fun show with you and Nicole. You guys are awesome.
thank you so much. And we're always doing different things and trying new things. We you know, we may not always stick to the same format, but we're always there on Mondays, so you can count on it.
Absolutely.
And then just check my page. I just put my March calendar up on my page, so all of my sales are on my calendar, and I try and keep that updated throughout the month.
Yes. And FYI, guys, in the description of this video, I have the links for all the sellers here. So please follow them on Instagram. Follow these ladies on over to Insta.
Yeah.
Follow their small businesses. And Suzie has 2 shops. So both links are in the description of this video. What about you, Cheri? What do you have coming up?
So this week, tomorrow, I'm doing a static sale, the ISN CCVH sale. And then Wednesday at 6 o'clock, I'll be live with Shadia at Vintage Global Treasures.
Oh, I love Shadia. She's a sweetheart. Awesome. That'll be a good one. Liz, you got anything going on this week?
Oh, yes. Tonight, this afternoon, I'm doing live with Suzzee Q Vintage. And that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just like 2 hours away. And so we are doing a lot. I'm doing kitsch mid-century modern thermalware, the thermalware, what am I trying to say? Tumblers and other fun stuff. And then tomorrow night, I am going live with Splendid Thrifted Goods, Jen. And that's at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're doing vintage jewelry. Yes, Bakelite will be there. And also some smalls. So figurines, salt and pepper shakers, anything that's small will also. So it's going to be a fun one. And then tomorrow starts 2 days static sale, same one. And as you guys.
Yes. Isn't it wacky on the YouTube? It's like looking in a mirror.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So yes, and that's the monthly sale, and that's tomorrow and the 2nd.
Awesome. Yes, I have the same thing coming up as Liz and Cheri. On the 1st is ISNCCVH March. That is the hashtag to follow and shop. And it is a static sale. It goes on for 2 days. I'll only be listing the first day myself, but it is actually March 1st and 2nd. And it is a monthly sale that we always have. And it is a great time. It's our biggest static monthly sale. Yeah. And that will be the 1st. And then Wednesday, I have my weekly sale with Amy's Rock and Pop Shop here on YouTube. And that is called Wicked Good Vintage. And it is on Wednesday. And our guest this week is Caitlin with E&E Vintage. So she will be joining us on Wednesday. And then Thursday night, I'm live with Marcy Vintage Bulldog. At 9 p.m. on Instagram. And that's 9 p.m. Eastern. So I have a packed out little week. And this has been an absolute blast. Girls, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for your knowledge and expertise and sharing it with others. This has been another productive session, and I appreciate you guys being my guests. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So much fun. So guys, again, all of the links to all of these wonderful ladies shops are in the description. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would so appreciate it if you would do it now. That helps me grow. Every little bit helps. And it's just another way that I'm branching out and able to spread some love over here with the talk show. And then I'm doing sales here too. So I'm diversifying my platforms. That's been my strategy for the next year. And again, if you need a strategy yourself, you need some help, you need some one-on-one love, hit me up at the Vintage Shop Coach. I can help you out. And I hope everybody has a wonderful week. Love to Ukraine. And I will see you all next time. Thank you all. Thank you guys for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.